when we're talking about feeling overwhelmed or trying to do all the things, I think that the deeper question is, first of all, is like this word all, do all the things. What's that really about? And how do we flip the tables a little bit and approach it from not that external, here's all the things out there I need to do or I want to do. How do we come inside to say, okay, how am I grounded in the things I want to be doing? How am I showing up in the things that I want to be doing? And how do I feel at the end of the week when all of those things come together?
Hi there. Welcome to the Empowered and Embodied Show. I'm Kim Romain.
And I'm Louise Neal. We're two transformational coaches who are also fellow travelers on the path of growth and self-discovery. And we're inviting you along for the ride.
That's right. We're right here in the trenches with you, navigating the ups and downs of life. And each week we'll be sharing our own experiences, bringing you conversations with amazing guests, and exploring insights and strategies that have helped us find more clarity, confidence, and ease in our lives.
And trust us, we do not have it all figured out. We're learning and growing right alongside you.
So if you're ready to rise above the chaos, doubt, and confusion that sometimes life throws our way
and step into a more empowered and embodied version of yourself,
then you're in the right place. Let's get started. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Empowered and Embodied Show. I am one of your co-hosts, as always, Kim Romain, and joined, as always, by the lovely, the wonderful, the amazing.
That's me. I'm Louise.
Yay, Louise. When we first got on the recording today, I came on, right? And I was like, I'm telling you, this story is a really great story. And I was doing it as though I was an announcer. And you said I sounded like I was from the 1950s.
You did. You totally
that?
sounded like, yeah, like on a radio program, right? And I was like,
and everything was great. Ta-da.
My life is burning up around me and everything is great because I have this vacuum cleaner. Yeah, exactly. I have Polydent. I have whatever.
I know, I'm Polydent. Right? It's the Fuller brush man. That whole idea of like, I can solve all your problems with just this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love doing that voice too, because it's that mask that we put on so often, right? It's everything is fine. I'm not scared at all. For those of you who can't see my face, it's a little freaky. It's the Stepford wife face. That's what I call it. It's like, hi, I can get through my day with Valium. How are you doing?
Yeah. Well, it's, to make fun and to joke about it, like I think is super important, right? Because things can start to feel pretty heavy and seem overwhelming. And when we can add some lightness to it. But I mean, you and I know like that is a fake face. Like we're over exaggerating because like things aren't, for a moment anyways, they aren't necessarily fine. Right. And so
I'm laughing at myself. I'm just laughing at myself. Yes, for sure. For a moment when I thought earlier today that I had set the house on fire, but I did not. The house definitely smells like a campfire, but I did not set it on fire. It was just a moment of what went wrong. It was a very small thing. It was a very small piece of tinfoil that got into the food, that got into the microwave. Anybody who has lived it, knows what that's like. And yet it's that moment of, oh shit, what's going on? Not that you can see everything crumbling around you, or that I could see fire, because there wasn't actually fire. There was a lot of smoke, but not fire. Relative to the size of what I was heating up in the microwave, there's a lot of smoke. But it's that place of when we see the smoke, of feeling that moment of, oh shit. And then what do we do from that moment? And I thought it was interesting because you took it to this place, because we were talking about like all the things, He's like, the dog in our house right now, I'm dealing with a dog that is aging and rather rapidly and all the issues that come with that. And I almost set the house on fire and I'm running this group over here and I'm talking to this group over here. And it's a lot to juggle. And then I have my own health issues, right? It's like, it's a lot to juggle. We're not even talking about the collective at this point. You know, it's bad in my house. And when we're recording this, we are in Mercury retrograde. So, of course, that, like, I'm aware of that. I'm aware of all of that. But it's the same thing. It's like we were talking about all the things and how they feel like that when they descend upon you. What do you do? And that is that moment of, oh, shit.
Mm,
And it was
yeah.
interesting what you said was grounding for you.
Yeah. And so, you and I are both hearing this from our communities around like, how do I do all the things? How do I do all the things that relate to my business and to building a business? How do I do all the things that relate to my perimenopause and menopause care? Because it can seem pretty overwhelming when we look at all the things, right? How do I navigate that? How do I do that? How do I keep everything, all the balls in the air, all the plates spinning? How do I keep everything moving and going forward without feeling like I'm going to topple and fall over? And that's a lot of the energy right now. I think that's a little bit of the fire horse energy that we're feeling, right? Of like, let's get up and go, and we have excitement and we want to be doing these things. We want to be figuring out our businesses. We want to be figuring out our menopause journey. Like we want to be doing that. And yet feels super overwhelming when it's like quote unquote like all the things.
Yeah. And I know a lot of places when I over the years I've seen, right, buy this journal, buy this meditation, buy this little quick fix and everything will be okay. And that's right back to that like 1950s commercial voice is buy this thing from the Fuller Brush man and you're going to be just fine. All your problems will go away. But there's not just one thing. I mean, first of all, there's not one thing for everybody because we're all different, but there's not just one thing because it can't fix everything. And we're not even trying to really really fix anything. It's just how are we showing up with all of the things? Like I mean, sure, I would love for my dog to not have any ailments. I would love to not have some of the physical stuff that's happening, but I love a lot of the other things that are going on and a lot of the opportunities that are there. You asked me the other day, you're like, what can you let go of? I'm like, I don't really want to. It's a matter of how do you show up with them differently. So it's not about that thing, that hack that's out there to do more with what you have. So what is it about?
It's a great question because we do default to finding that hack, right? Like to looking for that quick fix, to looking for, right? The thing that will make it all better. Um, and usually that's that surface level, like what we think is wrong isn't really what's really wrong, right? Like what we think the problem is isn't what the problem is. And so when we're talking about feeling overwhelmed or trying to like do all the things, I think that the deeper question is first of all is like with this word all, right? Do all the things. What's that really about? And how do we kind of flip the tables a little bit and approach it from like not that external, like here's all the things out there I need to do or I want to do. How do we come inside to say, okay, well, how am I grounded in the things I want to be doing? How am I showing up in the things that I want to be doing? And how do I feel at the end of the week when all of those things come together? I think we do things, not I think, from my perspective, we do things for a reason, right? We do things for a feeling, right? And often we forget that why we're really doing those things.
The why behind it is we lose
Yeah.
it so fast, so fast.
Yeah.
So I in nonprofit, right? Start board meetings. My favorite thing in board meetings to do is say, okay, everybody come back to your why. What is the why that you said yes to this organization? Like you don't need to, and I do this even in staff meetings. It's like, why? Why are you here? Why are you here? Why is the organization here? What collectively are we doing together? So you right, you have that beautiful moment together individually. You feel great, like everybody's, oh yeah, now I know why I'm here, why I'm doing all of this, why this is a big heavy lift, and I'm willing to do it because this is important for whatever value or feeling or sensation I'm receiving from it. By the end of an hour, hour and a half of all the shit storm that happens in all these meetings, even if it's just the shit storm of boredom, like that happens, you get to the end of it or even in the middle of it, and people have forgotten their whys already. I feel like that exercise of coming back to and returning to the why on a more regular basis allows us to stay in that grounded place for much longer than is probably typically accessible to most people. It when we understand that on a cellular level, that why, when that becomes the default versus that, oh yeah, I have to be reminded of that, once a month, once a quarter, whenever I go into these meetings or whatever. And you can put this into any part of your life. When we're reminded of the why, the grounding becomes easier. It's when we don't have access to the why that we can't ground ourselves or stay safe.
You're a lot in the social justice area, and people who are connected to the bigger purpose. Are they able to kind of step in and have that capital P purpose ground them in what they're doing and how they're showing up?
Yeah, I mean, some people, it's going to be more accessible. So if you are an entrepreneur who has a social impact business, or if you're a founder of a nonprofit that you started because you have a child that is suffering from, or a relative that was suffering from some ailment, and then you've created this nonprofit to support them, or some social justice cause that you want to support, it's really easy to remember, or it's much easier to remember that capital P purpose, to remember the why you're doing the work that you're doing. The further removed you are from that catalyst position, right, from what catalyzed the creation of the organization itself. So you can even be one step removed from it, right? You can be the CEO that was hired in, or you can be a vice president, or you can be an employee, or you can be a partner with them. You're one step removed from that. And that capital P purpose isn't quite as cellular because it's not your story, but you have a story that brought you there. And when I think of some of the individuals that I work with that have what I call jobby jobs, right? Where I took this position to serve a purpose in my life, but it is not my capital P purpose. We very often look at how does that jobby job, how does that role serve your greater capital P purpose, even if it means it's funding it, right? The work you're doing doesn't necessarily have to be that capital P purpose, but what is it? What is that why behind what you are doing? And I do find that the closer we can be again to that catalyst, to what it is that we're starting, growing, building, creating, that it's easier to connect to it. But the further we are removed from it, either personally or collectively in organizations, it can become harder because it's not our story.
Yeah, and I see that too in folks in their careers, like in their jobby jobs, even if they don't have an other, right? They're not building a business, but this is like who they are and how they show up. Because I hear a lot of folks say things like, yeah, I want to make the world a better place. I want to be, I want to be connected to something that makes people happy or brings joy to them, or put something out into the world that maybe cures something. Or so there's a lot of these things like, I want to be in this space that aligns with my values, that aligns with what I want to be doing. And then I get to bring my gifts and talents into a way that supports that in all kinds of ways. What I find, however, is that the people who are only connected to that bigger external purpose lose their connection so quickly. Like they lose it. We have to be they have to be talking about it all the time in order to remember that this is why they're doing it. What I find is like, and I think this is what you were saying, like about being removed from like your inner self, is like, but why is it important to you? Like, why is it, like, what does it bring you? Like today, what are you really wanting to feel in in the world, in this life that we're given? What's the feeling that you get when that thing happens? What's the feeling you get when you, right, are doing the work that you're meant to be doing? And then the purpose is like automatically fulfilled. And so it's this coming back to self, I think that is so important, that is so grounding, is to say, like, the reason why I do the things I do is because, like, it lights me up or it brings me joy, right? It doesn't, and that puts more joy into the world. But if we're only connecting to say like, oh yeah, I love this organization because like it just like brings more joy to people, right? I love working at Disney because it brings more joy to people. Or I love working at whatever, Toys R Us because like I see the kids playing, or I love working at this daycare because it brings, right. And if we're only connected at that level, I think that's really short lived. And I think it's causing some of the burnout that I'm seeing is because we're not connected to like, but it brings me joy to see the joy, or it brings me joy to see the change or the happiness. It brings something to me. And so I think when we have to make it micro in order to stay connected and to not burn out.
Make it internal. What is kind
Yeah.
of, yeah,
Yeah.
make it internal. Yeah, it's interesting because even the conversation that I was having with the group I was leading just before this call, the challenge that I'm hearing there is there's so much that they're already carrying internally. It's almost impossible for them without intentionality, right? So with intentionality, most of them are able to get here. Without intentionality, it's almost impossible for them to hear that, to hear what brings them joy, to hear what brings them peace, because they've experienced so much suffering and pain in other areas that it does feel to them like they're carrying all of that. They're carrying lost relationships. They're carrying lost income or lost homes or lost freedom. They're trying to start something from somewhere that's very heavy already. So understanding that, yes, you're absolutely right? That comes back to that internal spark of what lights me up. When it's so hard to see that, it becomes challenging to know that that's even a possibility until somebody reminds you, and until somebody's like, let me light the light for you and let's walk towards it together. Let me turn the light on in the room and let's take a look at what's actually here, because we're sitting in so much darkness and heaviness inside of ourselves that it's hard to begin to piece it apart because we're just holding so much of it. And when I think back to the original question that you asked about like that capital P purpose and their deeper why, we've been doing a lot of exercises in that group of finding their why this past week, and not just understanding their values, right? Not just understanding why this is important that I do this. It's important for me to create income for my family. It's important for me to, bring my talents into the world. It's important for me. That's pretty high level still. But that deeper why of getting to that place of, because I believe in the interconnectivity of all of us, because I believe that one person meeting together with others can create change, because I believe that we all deserve love, right? Those are the deeper whys. And when they can feel that, when we can keep turning that light back on and saying, where is that love in your world? Right? Because this is what they want to be creating. That's that capital P purpose. I'm here to help create that love in the world, to help create that community feeling. And then you ask them, okay, so where are you creating community for yourself?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That becomes something very different. It's like, that's right. I'm not just here to create. I'm not just here to do and put into the world. I'm also here to receive. And that's why, right? Why is so important, because we need to receive it as well as give it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It has to flow both ways in order to be sustainable. But if it's not, we're heading for trouble.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
It's something that I love. It's vision work, in my opinion, right? It's like the basis for vision work, right? Because when we think about what is the big vision that you have in the world, when you're building a business, when you're working with an organization, or even if in your own life, right? However you want to play this out, what is your big vision? What do you want to see in the world? What do you want to see more of in the world, less of in the world, right? How do you want the world to change? Or maybe you don't want the world to change at all. So what are those things? Like, what is it that you want? And now we get to say through our lens, through our perspective, right? It's that this is how I see the world and how I want to focus my life. So we don't all have the privilege of being self-employed. And even those of us who are self-employed don't have the privilege of having our entire calendar to ourselves. We were having a calendar conversation before this too.
We were.
And when we don't have that to ourselves, right, fully to ourselves, how do we continue to hold on to what is so important to us? Because we get to do that too, even in relation to others and even into relation to the collective. We get to be us. And it's so easy to forget that with quote unquote all the things.
Yeah, yeah. All the things get in the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So we were talking earlier about this calendar thing because it can start to feel like if I'm having all the things to
Mm-hmm.
do, and even when I'm working on, putting some of the things down or getting back connected with who I am, there's still shit we want to do and put out into the world, and that takes time to do and space on our calendars to do it. And so how do we reconcile this, like, this here's the stuff I want to be putting out to the world, here's the stuff that we even talked now there's you added more stuff to my calendar because now it's like, where am I doing it, where am I shining the light inside? So it's like, here I'm shining the light on outside, I'm trying to build my business or trying to make an impact in the work that I do, I'm trying to, like, level up or whatever that is outside of here. But now it's like, oh, you just added a whole bunch more stuff to my calendar because now where am I doing that for myself? And so what do we do with that? My calendar's already full. How am I working on me and shining a light on me?
Yeah, don't talk to me about calendars. I have a hate relationship with calendars. So, conversation you and I have been having about my schedule because my schedule has changed recently. I added 20 plus hours of work a week on my calendar that I hadn't had there previously. And it's beautiful work. It's wonderful work. And I feel the pressure. And the way I've decided to approach it is by practicing what I know is important for me to practice, which is capacity limits. I don't have nearly as much capacity as I think I do. There are days that I can be a superhero and I'm not talking necessarily about productivity in terms of like that being the most important thing, but that I get done, I show up in the world and do all of the things that I find important for that day. That to me is being a superhero. And then there are other days where I say, this is how I want to show up. And this is what I want to be connected to during the day, work, not work, whatever you add in there. And I don't have the capacity to do it. And then I feel restricted. I feel like a failure. I feel frustrated. I feel angry and I feel rebellious, right? That's a big thing for me. I'm like, well then, fuck 'em. And I don't want to be like that.
Right.
So what I'm starting to really lean into is looking at it through both a capacity and a why lens, using the language that we're using here today. So purpose lens of, okay, what is my deepest, like retouching into what is my deepest purpose? What is my why? Why am I doing any of this? And by any of this, I mean, yes, my business, yes, the work that I'm doing in the world, plus the volunteer stuff that I choose to do, plus taking care of my dog, plus being the mom in the way that I want to be a mom, plus being a partner the way that I want to be a partner, plus being a partner in the world of podcasting the way that I want to be a part, right? All of these things. What is my why? What is my purpose? And how does it connect to this? Because your purpose isn't going to directly connect to most things that you do. But you can, as you were saying earlier, it's like, what? So if I'm editing a document for a client, that editing is not hitting my capital P purpose. But what is being supportive to an organization that doesn't have anyone else on staff that can support them in that way. And that's something that they're looking to me to do. That's not the work that lights me up. What lights me up is that my why is that people get the support, or one of my whys is that people get the support that they need so that they can thrive and that they learn how to do it in community, right? Collectively, seeing each other human to human and understanding we have capacity is another part of it. And so I then have to honor that for myself. It's not just about honoring other people's capacity and other people's humanity. It's honoring my own. And my own humanity sometimes says, I'm too tired to work. I'm not in a good mood, so I can't show up as a good partner. I messed up my schedule because I'm human and I'm going to be late with this. But that's how I honor it. When we feel ourselves slipping away from that why, how do we honor ourselves?
So that's really interesting. And yes, I can hear that. That doesn't work for me. It doesn't always connecting to my why doesn't always like most of me says, well, of course, of course. And then it's like I still want to do it. Like I still don't want to, right? I still don't want to edit that document. I still don't want to do that thing. Like I get it. It's all part of it. I can make that connection. I can see it. Yes, it is helpful to be in that space. Yes, I don't care.
There are absolutely times where I don't care too.
Right. And yeah. And so, one of the things that I'm starting to recognize that really starts to feel good to me is that it's like, okay, so these things that we hate to do or feel laborious or energy draining, it's like, when I can actually put something down that feels like, yes, I'm going to carve out this time to do this horrible, laborious task, what I'm going to do when I'm done is I'm going to celebrate it. I'm going to like sit in the juicy goodness of the fact that I got the fucking thing done and that I accomplished it. And I'm going to sit in that feeling for longer than I imagined sitting there. And I'm going to feel really good about it. I'm going to be like, yeah, I just did that really hard thing. And that feels really good. And I don't care what it's attached to. I don't care that it has the capital P purpose. It's like in this moment, presently, what do I need to be able to celebrate myself? And that is to actually celebrate the fact that I got it accomplished or I started it or I thought about like whatever that is. We sometimes overestimate our capacity to the task or the task to our capacity. We do this all the time. And so setting myself up for success doesn't mean I finished it. It means I was focused or I got started or I now know where to start next time or like whatever that is. But I'm going to sit in that juiciness and I am going to remember how good it feels so that I can do it again tomorrow.
Yeah. It's so funny. I'm getting ready to say this and I'm like, it doesn't sound the way I want it to, but it's okay. I'll say it anyway. The celebration doesn't work for me. And it's not that I don't I celebrate all the time. I'm like, you'll hear my woohoos probably from Winnipeg when I get excited about stuff. And when I've done the hard thing, and to me, the hard thing means the thing I have ignored for a really long time because I don't want to do it. And so it's been on my to-do list for 19 years kind of hard thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When I finally get the thing done, I go, done. Good.
Like I know we've talked about this. You're like, done, whatever.
But that's very much my personality is I move so quickly from thing to thing and I don't feel like I'm missing anything because I'm present with the thing when I'm present with it. I don't need to to me, celebrating it after I'm done. Now I've elongated it. Now I've given it more energy than I want it to in the first place. I just want the fucking thing done.
Ooh, see, yeah, it's like, no. I get energy from that. I don't give it. I get it. And it's like, ooh, this is juicy and good. And it's like, yeah. And then I'm like, cool, let's do the next thing because I want to feel that more.
Yeah, no. I'm so opposite. That is so funny. I love it. And we need to honor our differences in that, right?
Yes.
So, and that is where that humanity piece comes in. Because when we are seeing the differences between ourselves, or just even knowing, we don't have to see it to acknowledge it. We know we're different people. And so I'm going to show up the way that I need to show up. Louise is going to show up the way that she needs to show up. And then if we happen to be working on something together, then maybe have a conversation about what we both need. In some projects that we work on, it's like, yeah, we can both be like, okay, that will just be when it is. And other ones, it's like, no, I'm going to actually gently push you along or ask you if I can take something off your plate. And we've done that for years for each other. And that's that honoring our capacity, right? Honoring how we are different in how we complete things or do things and the steps that we need to do along the way. I don't want to take any extra time for almost anything. That's just who I am. And yet that's not true. That's not true. If is pure presence, enjoyment of the moment, I can make that last forever. It looks like doing nothing, but I'm doing everything in that moment. And I'm not saying I'm logicking my way. I'm not solving problems in the world, not actively anyway. It could be solving them in the background. But I am just purely aware, like just aware and just present. That I could do forever. Anything else that I'm doing in life, it's like I love it. I can enjoy it, but I can also be good when it's done and then move on with the next thing. And it's not that I didn't, again, it's not that I didn't enjoy it, but I enjoyed it in the moment. Next. And I can tell you where it is in our designs that that's there. But
Yeah, it's interesting because and I hear this often in the sense of what are the tools, what are the tactics, what are the things that can work for me? And if we don't understand ourselves and how we're designed and how we operate and what we need and how we're connected to our small p or capital P purpose, then we out and trying to solve the wrong problem because it's not a tool, it's not a tactic, not at first. There's things that can help us along the way, but if we're focusing on those tools and tactics and things and trying to that can just cause more overwhelm or more burnout when it doesn't work because we're made to believe that, right, this is the thing that's going to solve all your problems. Welcome to social media advertising, where I can solve any problem with this. What did you call it? Mr. Brill Cream.
yeah, whatever it is. Yeah, whatever it is.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Some Pine Sol cleaner, some whatever that is will fix all your problems. That's just not true.
It's not true. And that is we've talked in the past about, sales and marketing, how it can leave us with the ick, right? And that's why it leaves us with the ick, because we recognize that you're telling me this is going to solve a problem you don't even know if I have. And even if I have that problem, you don't know how it's affecting me. And if you don't, it's like you can keep taking it down where, sure, you're actually talking to a very small percentage of the world and you're going to sell it to a whole lot of people because you hit on those quote unquote pain points. And those pain points, I can look at this cohort of women that I'm working with that are this amazing group of humans. And yet those pain points are really clear. And although their stories are all different, there's one thing we could sell them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So 90% of them
You
would
bet.
be like,
Yep.
sign me up.
Yep.
And that would be such a disservice to them, such a disservice, because every single one of them, they're in a different place. And each of them, well, I'm there to share tools and ways of working with themselves and with their businesses. They get to pick and choose which ones work for them in which moment and which one they're going to leave aside. Right. One of the things I told them today, because that shaky feeling of the legs have just gotten kicked out from under my table and I don't feel like I have one left to lean on. And what do I do? It's like, well, what if we used a metaphor of a chair? So what if it wasn't the chair that lost the legs? What if this whole time you've been sitting on a beanbag and it's the beans that are moving underneath you? So what changes then if that whole time you've been sitting on a beanbag and not a chair? And what was fascinating was those that I wasn't even talking to, that I didn't realize had felt that feeling of the legs falling out from under the chair. I could literally see them. They all went, it's a beanbag. Yeah. It doesn't mean that the problems aren't still there. The problems are very real. We're
Absolutely.
not saying they're not real. Problems are really, really real. And yet you're sitting in a beanbag. you're
Right.
not losing all your legs.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, it's so confirming and this is why metaphor works so well, but it's like, it's so confirming when you were like, oh, what if there is a different perspective? What if it was this thing that I didn't even imagine and being held instead of trying to hold things together. Um, yeah. Yeah, I like that metaphor a lot because it does feel like so yeah, like if a beanbag chair is uncomfortable, you could just like squish it around a little bit and find a new comfy space in it. It's just right there and it's totally accessible to you in that space.
Yeah. Well, and it conforms to your body, right? When you
Right.
sit in a
Right.
chair, very often we sit in a chair and we're like, all right, well, let me get comfortable here. Let's see. It's rare that we sit in a chair and immediately it's like, oh, this one fits just
Right.
right. Now, flip side of it is don't try and watch me get out of a beanbag. Love sitting in one, but try and get me to stand up out of it. That's a whole different party.
Yeah. Yeah. Great conversation today. I'm going to turn the tables and ask you, what are the nuggets? What are you taking away from this conversation? Or what would you like our listener to put in their pockets?
I want to go back to something you said early on is the word all. So you pointed out, because we very often say, it's just all the things. And words carry a lot of weight. And I just really loved that gift that you gave to me as well as to our listeners of, what does that word all really mean? And what kind of service or disservice are you doing to yourself when you're saying all the things? Because yeah, I mean, I know I immediately have a visceral reaction when I say it, right? I can feel it somatically, what all feels like. And it's not all. It's not
It's-
all.
yeah.
There's a lot of things, but it's not all the things. And so just maybe being a little bit more aware of how that word is impacting myself and then maybe for you, dear listener.
Yeah.
So how about you, Louise?
Yeah.
What are you taking away today?
I want to celebrate
Mhm.
this conversation and that I think the recognition of like, we're wired differently.
Mhm.
People are wired differently. There are different things and different solutions for different problems and different ideas that will or will not work for you. And so the thing that I'm taking away, we kind of started right is like there's not that one special thing that's gonna solve everything. And in our conversation today, I think we highlighted that. We highlighted like we're wired differently, and what works for you is really not going to work for me. And what works for me is not going to work for you. And we know this because we've practiced it, because we've done the work, we've tried the thing, but we've recognized pretty quickly that's not who we are. And we know ourselves differently because of that. And so I just want to like underline that thing is like, if the thing's not working, it's probably not for you. If the Mr. Brill Cream isn't solving your itch, stop using it.
I don't think Brill cream's for itches.
I
That's
don't know what it's
probably
for.
good.
So please don't.
Brill cream is hair cream.
I think so too. But I was thinking of like, I don't know. I was thinking of like, this magic wonder lotion that used to be sold that will cure everything that's wrong with you, right?
Oh, snake oil.
From your hiccups to your, I don't know,
So it just brings to mind,
joint
yes,
pain.
it's the Vegemina vitamin episode from I Love Lucy. So get your Vegemina vitamins today.
So yeah,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
stop doing that if it's not working for you.
Stop doing that. Yeah. So we have 195 recorded conversations that you and I have been a part of together. We've had many more than 195 opportunities to learn that we are different humans just in this partnership. Finding those opportunities, finding those people that are in your lives, in your circles, to understand that when the Vegemina vitamin salesperson comes along, you can say, no, thanks, I'm good. Right? It may be great for
Yeah,
them, but I don't
yeah,
need it.
yeah, absolutely. Fantastic conversation today.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Louise, thanks for having me on the show.
Thanks. Maybe we need some sponsors now that we have perfected our voice over. We can start to get some sponsors of the show. That'd be
Particularly if you have a ridiculous sounding name for your product. We'd love that.
Yeah. Let us know. Let us know what that is. Thanks everybody for tuning in today. Celebrate your day however you see fit.
Or not.
Or not. Or don't.
Take care, everyone.
Bye for now. And that's all for this week's episode of the Empowered and Embodied Show. We hope today's episode has sparked something within you. Remember, we're all on this journey together. If something did resonate with you today, why not share it with a friend who might need to hear it too? You can find us everywhere you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you're feeling generous, leave a review. Your feedback not only helps others find the show, but also helps us understand what's most valuable to you. Until next time, be kind to yourself, stay curious, and remember, we're walking right alongside you. Thanks for being part of our community.